What's up, friends? Welcome to a new style video. In this one, we got some news on the ACFT, the Army Combat Fitness Test, the physical fitness test that the Army uses to test their soldiers' physical capabilities. I recently already did an update on the Army Physical Fitness Test as far as certain standards, as far as how they're working it, as far as making it to where units are going to have to do these two diagnostic ones before sometime in mid-2020 it becomes the new permanent physical fitness test for record. Since then, I've gotten a little bit more information that I've seen that the Army has actually released that I wanted to be able to update you guys, especially for individuals going to basic training or OSIT. But first, starting off with when this ACFT is actually going to be implemented as the test for record. In that last video, I said mid or summer of 2020, but now they actually have said specifically that it's going to be October of 2020. So specifically, starting probably October 1st, I would imagine, units are going to be starting to do the ACFT as the test for record. Right now, they're just doing some diagnostics. They're supposed to be doing 2 between now and then by October, they're going to start testing that as the official physical fitness test for record for soldiers of the United States Army. So now that leads into you individuals that are probably curious, maybe you're going to OSIT or basic training sometime soon. You might be wondering, when am I going to have to do the ACFT in basic training or OSIT? Well, that time frame is now. They've actually released that as of 1 October 2019, which you're watching this probably after that date, they're starting to implement that for basic training and OSIT as the standard. You're going to have to pass that ACFT in order to graduate from basic training or OSIT. So for a lot of people I've seen in comment sections, they're asking, am I going to have to do the old PG test, the push-ups, sit-ups, and 2-mile run in basic training and OSIT, or am I going to have to do this new ACFT? And I wasn't really too sure then. There wasn't really any kind of clarity as far as when they were going to start implementing it. There was some basic trainings and OSITs that were already implementing the ACFT, and then some that weren't, so it was kind of wishy-washy as to the information, but I'm seeing officially from the Army starting the 1st of October of this year, 2019, it is now the standard for individuals to be able to pass basic training or OSIT. So if you're someone who's getting ready to go to basic training, getting ready to go to OSIT, then that's what you need to start preparing for. Prepare yourself physically for the events on the ACFT and, not having to focus necessarily so much on push-ups, sit-ups, and 2-mile run. You need to focus on these events. Those things can still help you overall, but you definitely want to kind of prepare yourself physically for the events of the ACFT, because that goes along with this next thing that I wanted to talk about, which was the results of some units doing the practice ACFTs and how people were actually failing some of the events. So there was this leaked document that got out onto social media that showed the results of these, I don't know if it was one specific unit, I think it was multiple units that were doing these diagnostic or practice ACFTs, and what the results were based on, male and female, and even the specific event and everything to kind of, see how people are kind of adapting to the new ACFT. So it didn't look so great. There was this whole section on that column that showed that females for the specific event of the leg tuck were failing it. I believe it was like 80-something% females that were tested in this little kind of diagnostics were failing the leg tuck. If you're not familiar with that event, it's basically like pull-up bar, you're kind of grabbing onto and kind of bring your knees up to your elbows. I probably have a little B-roll footage that's kind of showing that. Now there are different standards. There's different standards based on possibly MOS or your unit. I haven't seen anything official. I know they were testing whether they're going to make these 3 different tiers of the standards for passing based on MOS, or if they're going to make it based on unit. So if you're in a transportation unit, you might have a lower standard than if you were even still a transportation person or a cook in an infantry unit. You're going to have a higher standard because you're an infantry unit. So I know they were testing both. I haven't seen anything official as far as which way they're going with, or if they're still testing it, or if they made a final decision. But basically, in whatever categories these females were, doing either the low or the high kind of standards, they're seeing a lot of females failing that specific event. So the Army actually has commented on that document that got leaked and why they feel that so many females were failing that specific event. And they're saying it's just lack of practice, lack of, education in these kind of new events for the ACFT. The Army is saying that for these individuals, this was, for most of them, the very first time they ever took the ACFT. And in a lot of cases, units were not yet properly kind of preparing soldiers for the ACFT by, working those specific muscle groups and everything during morning PT, and specifically preparing soldiers for the ACFT. Because nowadays, when you do PT, you're doing push-ups, you're doing sit-ups, you're going for runs and everything. So it prepares you for that push-up, sit-up, and 2-mile run type of, physical fitness test you have to do. They're finding that, not a lot of units just yet have switched over to kind of catering physical fitness in the morning to help you, improve and do well on the ACFT. Obviously, soldiers are encouraged to do physical fitness on their own, going to the gym or whatever after work or whatever, but you still need to prepare them during the time that is dedicated for doing PT in the mornings. So that is why they were saying that they believe a lot of these females were struggling to meet the requirements to pass that specific event, is that units aren't really preparing soldiers just yet very well enough to prepare them for the ACFT, maybe doing pull-ups and doing leg tucks during PT sessions or other type of exercises that works that specific muscle group to prepare them for that. So is what this is going to come down to, is just units having to make sure they implement different exercises into morning PT, educate soldiers of how they can help to work those muscle groups on their own, and kind of just get a lot of practice in. That doesn't mean that they're going to start, taking all the females off to one side and work on the leg tucks with them, and then the men are going to go off and do some other physical fitness exercise, but it's just going to be as a whole. You're going to prepare for all the events. I believe even the men's failure rate, I think, was still kind of high on that specific event. It was just the female one that really stood out, as a lot of failures kind of showed up in that. So it's just going to come down to a lot more practice and a lot more working with soldiers in those different muscle groups to prepare them for the different events of the ACFT. Another concern that a lot of people have been saying about the new ACFT with all these crazy different events was that there was going to be an increase in injuries from soldiers because of this. And the Army has actually made a statement on that, saying that in all this testing they've been doing so far, they have not seen that yet. So that is not necessarily the case just yet. They are not seeing this increase in injuries or anything from that. I don't think they've said whether it's a decrease or increase. They just said there wasn't an increase. So they're kind of making sure to let people know that, hey, so far, based on the stats we're seeing, no, we're not seeing that individuals are getting injured more often because of these events and because of this new ACFT. So there you go. That's a little bit of a breakdown of some of the news about the new ACFT, this crazy document that got released, new ACFT starting for basic training OSIT 1 October of this year, and then for everybody else, October of 2020. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If so, make sure to show some love by hitting that thumbs up. You rock. I'll see you next time. See you.